Hello, Storytellers, Storytelling Ron. Am working on For the Lord RPG, by the way, and I will be making videos of it. I'm getting back into the swing of things. Just so you know, I'm working on it. I'm working on Christians in Space. I'm cleaning it up right now. It's looking really good. I'm working. Don't worry, I'm working. But I'm still coming out of my painful inflammations, and I just had a new one, which really brought me down yesterday. But then I realized I looked into this. I'm trying to figure out what's going on, and a protein. I think I'm not eating enough protein because it says it recommends for my weight and activity, I should be 150 to 200 plus grams of protein. And when I look back at the carnivore diet and what I've been eating on a regular diet, my protein is under 100 grams. Even on the carnivore, I just wasn't eating that much because it just satiated me, and I was losing weight, but I wasn't eating enough protein. So I think that's what's going on here, because the inflammation I just got yesterday was I started a little old man workout and my knee started hurting. But it's improved today. I gorged on protein yesterday. Two scoops of whey protein powder, and then I ate a lot of protein and a lot of fish. And it's improved a little today, so that's remarkable. And I'm not taking ibuprofen. I took it yesterday out of desperation, but I hear ibuprofen actually slows the healing of inflammation. So. Or it helps with inflammation. It slows the healing of the muscles. So that's my intro to what's going on in my life. But I want to get to this. Sorry. They cloned Tyrone, man. I watched this last night with my wife. I love this film. I'm a right-wing Christian conservative Christian creation conservative Trump dude. I believe in Christian nationalism. I believe in Jesus is the only way for freedom. But this film, I really love this film. This was a wonderful, cool, dark, creepy, satirical, stylistic. The style, I love the style. I hope this gets black people getting back on the afro. I love the afro. I miss the afro, man. In the 70s and 80s, the afro was so freaking cool. And this one takes a pot shot at the straightening of their hair with the creams and stuff. But I want black culture to be so intensely black and cool and I miss that. Anyway, so I just want to go through this a little bit, the trailer. I don't want to play it because I have weird copyright things going on when I do that. But let me just go through real quick. Just a couple of images of this. This is just on Netflix. John Boyega looks awesome in this film. I love his look. Well, they all look awesome, but he's just got this cool look in this film, and I really like his movies that he's done. I really do. I'm trying to find. There's one image here of him, just looking cool. This one does too, but he's right here somewhere. Can't find it now. Jamie Foxx looks great. I'm really glad to hear he's his video on his health. He's coming out of it. I can relate, not as seriously as what he's going through, but I'm coming out of that 4 to 5 week debacle I had with my inflammations and was in the ER. But he had obviously way more. I love this guy too. I love his talent, his love for people. It shows in other videos. Boyega, I know he kind of jumped on the BLM train. I hope he's not on that anymore. I hope he just, we're all in this together. We're all struggling. There are bad people but they're all bad people in all cultures. And I love how Denzel Washington terms us is not in race, but in cultures and in tribes. We are tribal, and that's okay. God wants us to be tribal. He doesn't want us to be tribal to conquer each other. He wants us to be tribal in culture so that we have different cultures. We have different things to do. That's what nationalism is for a conservative. Nationalism for a conservative is not controlling people. Nationalism for a conservative is that we have tribes. We have unique tribes that get to do their own experiment and are not controlled by other tribes. That's what God wants. He wants a world of nations where we all have different cultures so we can visit each other. We can do things and check out other foods and other ways of doing things and other people's music and other people's clothing. He wants us to all have differences so that we all have things to do, to go visit and go see. And in this film, I love this film, man. It's so that he just looks so cool. I love his look. I love the hair, man. It's just, I hope this spreads. The cool fro spread, I love her too. She was great. I love this kind of hair. I just wish they all had, I wish that was really a part of their thing. but the movie, the style is so cool. Okay, so it hits on like, are white people controlling black people kind of thing in this, but that doesn't offend me. Like there's, you can see that there's some sort of controlled by white people. And this is the trailer, so it shows like a bunch of white people in suits and technology. It kind of has the, that are controlling the black people up above in their inner city kind of thing. I'm not offended by this. I don't care. White people, black people, whatever. But what's cool too is that this shows like black people being bad to each other. The white people are all like, we think we're doing good, but they're not. I just didn't bother me. I just feel like they, the director and the right, and I commend the director, the young guy, and the writers, him and the other guy, that what they did here was just a wonderful, cool little thing. And it criticizes everybody. It criticizes black people, criticizes white people, whatever. That's what I want to see. I want to see a film that criticizes everyone and no one is right, because, and that to me is totally plausible as a Christian. Jesus says none of us are right. None of us are good. None of us are worthy to throw stones and execute and control people and be gods over people. And the left wants to believe they're a god and can control with government all of our lives. And we, on the right, we believe that we need to not let government control our lives, because no one is good. We're all corruptible. And that's why we tend to try not to, we don't, we do care. We do care, absolutely. But we care that you and me and everyone do it ourselves, not have government do it for us, not have government have welfare in schools, and we do it. We figure it out, not government. And we don't aspire to have a government controlled society. We want a society where we get to, conservatives, where we get to decide. We want a government there to make sure that the society is peaceful and stable and secure and has borders. And we then have the freedom within to do what we want and change out the government when we need someone else, and the ones that are not doing their job. But this movie, it's a wonderful movie. I think you should watch it. Now they have a church one area, and they criticize church, I think, a little. It's, I think they do it a little bit, not overly. They don't criticize anything overly. They really kind of hold back a little, but they love doing the stereotypes, because they go after the junk food that black people eat, and they're in a fried chicken place, and they're realizing that the chicken might have some sort of controlled substance in it, and I think that's cool. I think it's a kind of it's a satire on the consumers, like black culture, how it, and white culture too, consumes really bad food for you, and does that cream that straightens their hair that's really kind of dangerous and acidic or whatever. And what else? And how church is kind of like a show as opposed to a place to learn about God. But it only does it a little bit and moves the story along. It moves the story along. It doesn't turn it into preaching or anything. But it's just a nice sort of satire reflection on our own lives and what we're doing. So wonderful film, cool style, great cars, great direct cinematography, great details of the sort of like the trashiness of the ghetto or any inner cities or whatever. And then of course they show that video where they kind of a nice ending. I think it was a cool ending too. So a great film, love it. And for Christians, I think you should watch it. It's a very cool. Not too violent. There's no nudity. There is obviously adult things. There's like a lot of language, prostitutes, showing the inner city prostitute kind of thing. So it's definitely an R film, but what a great film. I really enjoyed it. And I want to get on also, like it sort of reflects the Tuskegee experiment where they really did this and experimented, a very horrifying, evil, like Nazi type of thing done here in America on black people, black men who had syphilis, and they let them suffer through it. Really horrible, evil thing. And I want to say this about Democrats. They're the ones, if you want to think about the evil white people in these underground bunkers controlling the black people above, Democrats. This is exactly what it is. So I'm going to see, as a Republican, this film doesn't bother me at all. It's Democrats did that. Democrats did this, the Tuskegee syphilis experiment. They did this. It was a Democrat. Here, let me show you just a basic proof. This is done in Alabama for 50 years. What was it? 1972 from 1932 to 40 years they did this. 40 freaking years they did this. So let's just go through and see. So Alabama, this is a basic way of looking at the list of governors. See, so governors, Democrat from Andrew Jackson on, ruled iron fist, man. They ruled the South. And look, only a couple of Whigs and Republicans, right? But this is right after the Civil War, when the Union soldiers were there, and the Union soldiers were controlling the voting election process. Union soldiers were there to make sure that the elections were fair. But guess what? The Union soldiers eventually left around this period. A couple of Republicans here, Democrats doing their thing. And this is when the terror began. Once the Union soldiers of the Republicans left, the terror of the Democrats, KKK, their KKK is what Antifa is today, but their KKK were empowered by the judges and the police. That's why they were so powerful. Today, the KKK doesn't have the support of the Democrat Party, so they're just kind of a joke. I mean, they might be a little scary in a gang way, but they were not in power. So for them to be Republican or conservative, like Republicans, like who, what? We don't care about these people. We don't give them any power. The KKK can try to say they're Republican or conservative, but the Republican Party doesn't give them any power. When they were under the Democrat wing, the Democrats gave them the police, the judges. They were powerful. They were the power. And remember this, there were about 5,000 lynchings of blacks. That's actually not true. I think it's 5,000, maybe 6,000, whatever the number is. There were 5,000 lynchings of blacks. Actually, that's not true. There were 5,000 lynchings of Republicans. Okay, that's 100% true. 1/3 of those lynched were white. The true statement, though, is 100% of them were Republicans. The Democrats wiped out the Republican Party and their ability to exist in Alabama. That's what Democrats do when you give them power. Today, they don't need to lynch us. They just run the election. Here in California, they just run the elections. And federally now they're running the elections. So once the Union soldiers left, Republicans were wiped out. They couldn't even vote. They got attacked at voting centers by the KKK. Look, with an iron fist, the Democrats ruled Alabama. Oh, look, we're coming up to the Tuskegee thing. Here we go, 1930. Still Democrat. Look at this. How does a Democrat rule a state for this long? Only through tyranny. And remember, Alabama is considered very poor, not growing, not just poor. This is just horrifying. Horrifying. Look at this. That's not a real freedom at all. That is occupation, man. That's just horrifying. And finally, some Republicans come in 1987. In the 80s, under Ronald Reagan, things started to happen, like good things. I think the Democrat people were just becoming more aware of how oppressed they were. And TV and radio was becoming more, like people were getting information better. Starting in the 80s, the AM radio under Rush Limbaugh started then. So people were getting more information. Remember, the AM radio wasn't really happening until the 80s. Talk radio, like Republican conservative talk radio. So things were happening, but still Democrats had a lot of power. And it wasn't until the 2000s. And I've looked at other southern states where Republicans actually were finally getting a hold in these places and winning. And I think the real reason is because the people knew the Democrats. They knew them. They knew who they were, And today, the strength of the Democrat is in the inner cities or cities, large cities. That's where their strength is, because there's anonymity in cities. You can get away with things in a city. You can't get away with it in a small town. Everybody knows who you are in a small town. But in a big city where Democrats have flocked now and gained their power, D.C., New York, L.A., Chicago, San Francisco, where they gain that power and they gain the electoral votes or the representatives because of the numbers of people there, and they just take over those areas. In the unions, anything big with a lot of people, that's what they targeted. And we Republicans, we just don't care. We don't want we want to live our lives, and I mean, we want business. Obviously, a lot of Republicans are into business, but they're not into government. I mean, we're certainly into military. I'll give you that. But yeah, so the Tuskegee thing was way in the heart of the Democrat power structure. So if you want to know who these people are in these bunkers in this movie, now I know the writer's not going to say that, but these are all Democrats. I mean, I'm just saying based on history, based on American culture. This is a Democrat-run power, whatever. And look at inner cities today. Look at inner cities today. They're all run by Democrats. So that's my little... But anyway, great film. Love this film. It doesn't really hit on all that, which is fine. It was entertaining and cool, but also it had a nice reflection of us and who we are and our goofishness and our evils and how we let things happen like this. But so yeah, great film. I think you guys should watch it. Really enjoyable. I'm like, okay, I guess I'll keep Netflix for a little while longer. We'll see how this goes. But I am kind of on the verge of not really watching much on Netflix. Although they're doing some good films, but a lot of I don't care films. But anyway, this one was great. All right, thanks for listening and watching. Remember, in the game of life, roll holy dice. I'm on it, man. For the Lord RPG. I'm still working on it. Getting there. I'm building up my momentum.